Hello, everybody. Good morning. And I am attempting to be able to get back on this podcast regiment. I'm trying a little something a little bit different. Hopefully, it works. Hopefully, the mic, I can get it to where it's in a decent spot here. We'll see. So, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate your time that you would put to this vlogging, I guess it's called. The summation of what I'd like to get to based on where we're at today is very much appropriately summarized in a article from yesterday from George Gilder. I read George whenever I can. And so let me start with the editor's note in this article. It is prudent to base public policy on the question is it prudent to base public policy on a worst case scenario? End of the quote. Today, futurist George Gilder argues that trying to prevent a worst case scenario stifles the freedom and creativity that make progress possible. So, dear reader, Dr. Anthony Fauci recently warned the Senate of the possibility of suffering and death if the U.S. ended its lockdowns too soon. For all his acclaimed brilliance, Fauci confessed that the reason for shutting down and locking in the economy and society was not the proven effects of COVID-19, but the possible worst-case impact. As a doctor, above all, he does not want the patient to die, and any extreme measure is justifiable, but prescriptions tenable for individual patients are outrageously inappropriate for entire societies. Human beings have evolved for millions of years with viruses and bacteria. If they could wipe us out, there would not be 8 billion of us around. If enterprise were governed by worst-case possibilities, the Wright brothers' plane could have never taken off, let alone an industrial or biotech revolution. In that same vein, the so-called Green New Deal would close down the U.S. energy economy in the name of a theoretical peril of climate. Author Jared Diamond regards overpopulation as the ultimate threat and would halt population growth and thus imperil economic expansion and support for the aged. And Dr. Fauci would close the economy down for COVID-19 and any other possible plague. But addressing all possible extreme threats at once would cripple the economy that is the source of the wealth necessary to remedy any actual threat that occurs. Dictating a repeated dictatorial response to speculative perils, the cautionary principle is a death sentence for the capitalism and freedom that have made it possible for the planet to support a global population of 8 billion people. Today, lockdowns threaten starvation for an estimated 260 million people in the third world who can least afford. Closures are ravaging the economy of India and wreaking mass starvation there. For example, the United Nations Food Program, the United Nations World Food Program estimates that by the end of the year, 260 million people will face starvation. Michael Levitt, professor of structural biology at Stanford Medical School and winner of the 2013 Nobel Prize in Chemistry, says, "There is no doubt in my mind that when we come to look back on this, the damage done by the lockdown will exceed any saving of lives by a huge factor." End quote. I'm not arguing that COVID-19 is not dangerous to the old and those underlying conditions like heart disease, hypertension, asthma, diabetes, and other conditions. Yes, it can be fatal to these people. Unfortunately, and even if they live, those with severe cases may have lasting damage. But we can protect the vulnerable while the overwhelming majority who aren't vulnerable can get back to their lives. So please don't say I'm insensitive to the people who have suffered and died. I'm not. And let's just say my own age places me at risk, so I'm not being cavalier about it. But we have to look at the situation in its entirety. The egregious blunder of the current lockdown illustrates the crippling flaws of bureaucratic management, of economics, and society. As I write in Wealth and Poverty some 40 years ago, quote, modern civilization is hopelessly contingent and problematic, subject to destruction any day by possible climactic reversals, astrophysical mishaps, genetic plagues, nuclear explosions, geological convulsions, and atmospheric transformations, all conceivable catastrophes originating beyond the ken of plausible remedy or control. End quote. If we try to battle all these threats at once, we will end up wasting our wealth on windmills, strewing them across the environment, or tilting them like Don Quixote. We will resort to ever more stifling controls that will suppress the unexpected benefits of creativity that have always been the source of our prosperity and success. I want to read that one more time. We will resort to ever more stifling controls that will suppress the unexpected benefits of creativity that have always been the source of our prosperity and success. Remember that. We will invest in problems rather than in opportunities and end up without either wealth or freedom. The human race has prevailed against the plagues and scarcities of its past, not through regulation or lockdown, but through creativity and faith. State planning killed close to 1 billion people in the 20th century, led by the banning of DDT, the resurgence of malaria, the suppression of nuclear power, the retardation of global growth. The environmentalists' excesses have already killed more people than the environmental pollution ever did. Now the expert response to the coronavirus is on track to exceed even environmentalism in its vast damage of our civilization. In the name of fighting COVID-19, we are destroying the monetary underpinnings of capitalist markets with untold trillions of dollars of wanton spending and crony bailouts. We are closing down much of the economy for months on end. We are jeopardizing food supplies and other medical services. We are giving up world leadership in technology to communists in China. We are condoning a devastating blow to the economies of third world countries that, unlike the U.S., cannot merely print dollars and expect people to take them. It's time to end this madness. Below, I show you 25 findings of the coronavirus from the independent nonprofit Swiss Policy Research. It's further evidence that the lockdown is far more destructive than the virus. So I'm going to end this and upload it, and then I'm going to do another one sharing the 25 points. I think it's pretty powerful. And I realize that in reading George Gilder and talking about environmental issues that are so near and dear to so many people's hearts, I might lose some people there. I realize I have less than 30 subscribers. The chances of this getting taken down, unless one of these episodes goes viral, is almost non-existent, flying under the radar, so to speak. And so it's kind of a catch-22. If this is shared often enough, and just trying to share, well, certainly connect the dots, seeking the truth, and try to share the information that we have. If this vlog is shared often enough, and I am now above the radar, then yeah, I can see where this would be censored. Until that point, let's try to work together. I appreciate each of you that share with me what you find as being something interesting. It does expose me to some things that I think are way out there, like not even conceivable to me. I view the material, I look at it, I digest it, I move on from it. I think George Gilder makes a great deal of sense. I really think, especially here in Michigan, I mean, the fact that they're talking about Los Angeles County being shut down for another 3 months. Folks, do we realize this is just about control? That's it. An elite class wants to destroy the world so that they can rebuild it. the way they want to. Oh, and by the way, that same elite class has been on record multiple times. You can find these meetings. You just have to search for them. They're on record as saying we need to eliminate somewhere between 1.5 billion and 2 billion people from this planet. How do we do that? Through vaccinations and bioengineered viruses. These are things that people are on record. They've been exposed. They're hard to find because the moment it goes viral, it gets censored. So when we find these things on the internet, let's take them and let's put them in a place where that information can be preserved. We need to seek the truth. I was asked yesterday, I read an article that was quoting a Department of Defense and HHS joint purchase of over 500 million, like EpiPens, vaccine-ready EpiPens. And I was asked, can I verify that? And I said, well, I'm quoting a source. Could they have made it up? I find it hard to believe that this particular source, he's been out there, Mike Adams and the health ranger Mike Adams has been out there with some seemingly crazy ideas, but he also seems to be very well connected. There are whistleblowers that are feeding information out they have a conscience. They're trying to do what they can and stay alive. I personally cannot confirm it, but it does seem to be very a legitimate level of proof coming from Mike Adams. He's been right much more often than he's been wrong. And so I'm going to continue to question all of these answers. I may run out of places to buy coffee. I was told at the local coffee shop today, mandatory that we all need to wear masks if we come in there. I said, well, this might be my last time then. And she said, well, Myers is making everybody wear masks too. I guess I'm not shopping at Meijer. I really don't understand how you can force me to wear something. And again, I explained to the person working there that I'm not trying to expose anybody or am being subscribing to denialism, but these efforts only work at the early stages of a contagion or a pandemic outbreak. These lockdown efforts are doing nothing except suppressing our immune systems and controlling us, trying to destroy our economy. And they're doing a really good job of it, and shame on us for letting it happen. I don't want to hurt anybody, except if those people that are trying to tell us this science information are actually trying to hurt us. And then I will defend myself, my family, my friends, and all of us that are seeking the truth. I look forward to the next time. I'm going to get off here, upload this, and then I'm going to share another one with the 25 points. They're fantastic points. Again, George Gilder is quoting the Swiss research information, and it's pretty powerful. It speaks right to us. I'm James Detroit, and I'm out.